Smart men attract women by refusing these four things. You've been told to chase, to prove yourself, told that if you just try harder, love will work. But smart men, they know something most never learn. They don't beg. They don't adjust themselves to fit into a story they didn't write. Because what you tolerate becomes your identity, and when you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop living small. Comment, "No more begging," if you're ready to change your life. Number 1. Stop needing her time. You wake up thinking about her. You check your phone before brushing your teeth, before even drinking water, looking for her name, waiting for a sign that you're still on her mind. She hasn't replied to your message from last night, and your chest tightens. You think maybe you said too much, maybe you showed too much care, maybe you scared her off by being honest, but deep down you know you did nothing wrong, you just cared more than she did. You replay the chat again, wondering where the tone shifted, where her excitement dropped, where her emojis turned cold. You tell yourself it's fine, she's just busy, but you know that when a woman wants to talk to you, she will make the time, no matter what. And yet, you still wait. You keep your phone next to you, the brightness high, volume on loud, pretending you're not hoping every ping is her, pretending you're not hurt every time it's not. You feel sick, not just from missing her, but from knowing you've made her the center of a life you were supposed to be building for yourself. You cancel plans, you delay your gym session, you ignore your work just to keep yourself emotionally available in case she suddenly decides you're worth replying to. And you lie to yourself, calling it patience, calling it love, when really, it's obsession dressed as loyalty. You're investing hours into someone who can't even give you seconds. And the worst part, you've convinced yourself this is normal, that being ignored is part of dating, that emotional starvation is just part of the process, and that if you wait long enough, she'll see your worth. But the truth is, she saw it the first week. She felt it in how you moved, in what you prioritized, in how you spoke about your goals. And slowly, she also saw that your goals shifted from your mission to her attention. You became predictable, available, and most dangerously, desperate. She doesn't lose attraction because you're a bad guy. She loses it because she can sense that you've made her the sun in a sky that used to be yours. You used to wake up and chase the vision. Now you wake up and chase her text. You used to go to bed excited for what you were building. Now you go to bed drained from what you're overthinking. You've replaced self-discipline with self-pity. You've swapped focus with emotional gambling. And all because you made her attention more important than your own evolution. You've given up days, energy, sleep, and clarity for someone who treats communication like a favor. And this is what you must understand. Time is the most expensive currency you own, and the moment you spend it begging, you go broke. You don't attract a high-value woman by proving you're available at all times. You attract her by proving you're busy building. You don't need her to make plans to feel like a man. You need to make plans that excite you so deeply that her absence becomes background noise. You need to remember who you were before she slowed your grind. Not the version that waits, not the version that apologizes for showing interest, but the version who walked with purpose, not fear. That man who didn't chase because he was too focused to notice she pulled away. You win this game not by texting her the perfect sentence, but by becoming so invested in your growth that she has no choice but to notice. When your silence becomes more powerful than your messages, she will feel it. But this isn't about her. This is about you reclaiming your focus, your schedule, your routine. You train your mind to detach by rewarding yourself every time you resist the urge to reach out. You fill the time you used to wait with weights, books, cold showers, networking, creativity. You build until your day is so full that her reply, when it comes, feels like a bonus, not a rescue. You practice detachment not by denying your emotions, but by not letting them dictate your actions. She pulls away, and instead of begging, you journal. She takes hours to reply, and instead of spiraling, you push through your to-do list. You remind yourself that attraction is never won through desperation. It's earned through discipline. You lose her attention by needing it. You gain her respect by not depending on it. The more you chase, the more you convince her you don't have anything better to do. The more you sit in that pain, the more you reinforce to your brain that she is the reward. But she's not. Your vision is, your peace is, your time is, and the man who protects those things becomes rare. And the rare are always pursued. So stop checking your phone. Stop watching her story. Stop hoping she'll circle back. Make your life so compelling that she has no choice but to wonder why she hasn't heard from you. And if she never reaches out, let her fade. Because the man you're becoming doesn't. Lose sleep over the indecision of someone who can't see what he brings. The man you're becoming builds. And that's how smart men attract women, by refusing to need their time. And that's how smart men attract women, by refusing to need their time. And if you're ready to take this even deeper, to understand what it truly means to live with unshakable focus, strength, and emotional clarity, then the Stoic Relationship Blueprint is for you. This isn't just a book, it's a transformation guide built for men who are done chasing, done overthinking, done feeling lost in their own relationships and lives. It's packed with timeless Stoic principles you can apply immediately to build peace, purpose, and powerful detachment. And now the audiobook version is available, so you don't even have to stop your life to change it. You can listen while you walk, train, drive, while you live. Let these words guide you, shape you, sharpen you. Once you own it, it's yours forever. No subscriptions, just pure permanent access to the mindset that will finally set you free. The link is in the description. Number 2. Don't change yourself to please. You meet her and suddenly your world starts spinning differently. You begin adjusting your language, softening your views, reshaping your ambitions to fit what you think she wants. And at first it feels harmless, like compromise or growth. But one day you realize you've shaved off every edge of yourself just to become more likable. You laugh when her jokes aren't funny. You agree when her points don't make sense. You downplay your opinions just to avoid disagreement. And each time you do it, you become smaller, weaker, more forgettable, until the version of you that once had dreams, fire, and direction becomes a passive shell molded by her moods and preferences. And the problem is, she never asked you to do it, but she watched it happen and lost respect, because every time you fold to stay, you teach her that your identity is up for negotiation, that your values are adjustable depending on how much attention you're getting, and no woman respects a man who changes like water to fit her container. You think adapting to her will earn her love, but it earns you silence, indifference, and eventually betrayal. Because the man who erases himself to be loved is never truly loved, just tolerated and eventually resented. You begin by skipping your gym session to spend more time with her, and before you know it, you're skipping your principles, your vision, your edge, and you call it love. But love without self-respect is just submission. You lose your hobbies, your ambition, your voice, and then you wonder why she pulls away. She pulls away because she can't feel your spine, and no one feels safe with a man who has no spine. You need to understand that love isn't given to the most available. It's given to the most consistent, the most focused, the most grounded. And the moment you become a man who drops his standards to avoid conflict, you become invisible, predictable, replaceable. Because women test not just with words, but with silence. They watch how much you're willing to give up just to stay in their orbit, and every time you say yes to something you hate just to please her, every time you nod in agreement while your stomach turns, every time you trade truth for peace, you lose a piece of yourself, and you think she doesn't notice, but she does. She feels your weakness in your hesitation. She sees your desperation in your need to be liked. She senses that your desire to be loved is louder than your commitment to be honest. And deep down, she starts to ask herself, if he can't stand up to me, how will he stand up for me? The man who sacrifices self for closeness always ends up alone, because what keeps a woman isn't compliance, it's conviction. She may not agree with you, she may push back, she may even argue, but the moment she sees you fold too easily, the game is over. Attraction dies where leadership dies, and leadership dies the second you stop leading your own life to follow hers. You don't need to be cruel, you don't need to dominate, you just need to be rooted in something deeper than her opinion. Because when a man stands for something, even if it's unpopular, he becomes unforgettable. Start saying no when it costs your identity to say yes. Say no to the dates that interfere with your grind. Say no to the sleepovers that derail your morning discipline. Say no to the emotional blackmail that sounds like, if you really loved me, you would. Because you can love deeply without losing yourself. And if you lose yourself, it's not love. It's self-abandonment, and that's never sustainable. You need to remember who you were before she made you question yourself. That man who had clarity, who had goals not centered around her mood, who didn't hesitate to walk away when a line was crossed. And you need to rebuild him, not by being aggressive, but by being immovable. You need to stop apologizing for having boundaries. Stop seeking approval with every gesture. Stop molding your life around her validation. Because if she's testing you, it's not because she wants to control you. It's because she wants to feel your stability. And she can't feel that when your words change with every breath she takes. Start here. Write down your values, your non-negotiables, the habits you refuse to break, the mission you refuse to pause, and then live them with precision every day without exception. Whether she's watching or not, because when she sees that you don't flinch, that you don't explain every decision, that you lead yourself without needing her to follow, that's when she starts leaning in. That's when attraction turns into devotion. And if she can't handle that version of you, let her go. Because the man who knows where he's going never begs anyone to come along. He walks, and those meant for him will run to catch up. Number 3, ignore her emotional games. You tell yourself you're in control, that you're strong, that you're different from the others. But the moment she pulls away, your hands shake, your thoughts spiral, your heart starts pacing faster than your breath can keep up, and suddenly all your strength, all your self-worth, all your composure melts under the weight of a woman's silence. And what you don't realize is, this isn't love. It's conditioning. It's the pattern you've learned, the program you've absorbed from years of being told that a good man always reaches out, always fixes things, always bends to avoid conflict. And every time she withdraws her energy, her words, her presence, you take the bait. You dive into panic, overthinking, texting, asking what's wrong when she hasn't even said anything, and that's the trap. She doesn't have to say anything because your emotions are tied to her responses. Your mood relies on her validation. Your self-image shifts with every look, message, emoji she does or doesn't send, and that's how she tests you, not with direct questions, but with subtle emotional withdrawals to see if your world falls apart the moment she steps back. And when it does, when you chase her mood, when you try to fix what isn't broken just because she's quiet, you show her that your power is reactive, not rooted, and she stops respecting you, not because you aren't good to her, but because you aren't good to yourself. Because a man whose peace crumbles from silence is a man she knows she can emotionally lead, and once she knows that, she'll never follow. You've given her the reins without her even asking, and what started as attraction quickly dissolves into manipulation. Not always intentionally, but naturally, because people test where the walls are. And if your emotional boundaries are soft, she will keep pushing, keep pulling, not always to hurt you, but to understand where you stand. And if every time she ignores you, you panic, you call 3 times, you double text, you try to make her laugh just to earn her attention back. You teach her that her silence is power and your desperation is predictable, and that's the moment attraction dies, because attraction doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in the presence of strength, of independence, of a man who stays rooted when things get quiet, who doesn't chase every time the temperature drops, who doesn't base his confidence on her mood swings. If she's distant, let her be distant. If she's moody, let her have her mood. Your job isn't to fix her emotional roller coaster. Your job is to stay focused on your own track. Your job is to build, to create, to move forward. Because the moment you stop progressing just to understand what's going on in her mind, you lose yourself, you lose momentum, you start orbiting around a woman who may not even know what she wants, and now your purpose is on pause while you try to win a game that's not even yours to play, and you think you're being a good man, attentive, caring, emotionally available, but you're not. You're being pulled into a maze of reactions, and the deeper you go, the less of yourself you'll recognize. So what do you do instead? You stay present, not reactive. You let her moods pass like clouds while you continue building, training, focusing. You don't cold shoulder her, but you don't overinvest either. If she reaches out, you respond from strength, not from fear. You're kind, but not needy. You're honest, but not apologetic. You don't explain yourself just to make her feel better. You don't shift your boundaries just to avoid her withdrawal, because once you start playing emotional catch-up, you'll always be a step behind, and that's not where leaders operate from. A man who leads emotionally doesn't flinch when she pulls away, doesn't explain himself to silence, doesn't chase when she acts passive-aggressive. He observes, he evaluates, and he decides whether or not her behavior aligns with the peace he's building, and if it doesn't, he walks, not loudly, not dramatically, but decisively, because emotional manipulation only works on the emotionally dependent. And the more you build your independence, the more her mind games bounce off you instead of breaking you. Start by sitting with the discomfort, by not replying to her breadcrumb messages, by not watching her stories just to feel close, by not decoding her every word for hidden meanings. Start by living as if her approval is a bonus, not a necessity, because when you stop reacting to her emotional tests, she sees a man who cannot be moved by mind games. And that's the man she remembers. That's the man she respects. That's the man who shifts the dynamic from chasing her to leading the interaction. And if she's not willing to meet you at that level, she's not ready for you, and that's not your loss. It's hers, because the man who holds his emotional ground isn't just rare, he's unforgettable. Number 4, walk away. If it's one-sided, you're the one planning everything, reaching out first, fixing the problems, making the apologies, creating the memories, investing your time, your money, your presence, and she's just receiving, judging, complaining, pulling away whenever it suits her mood, and coming back whenever she feels lonely. And the truth you don't want to admit is this: you're in a one-sided relationship, not because she doesn't love people, but because she doesn't love you. Not the way you need to be loved, not the way that makes you feel chosen, secure, respected. You keep telling yourself it'll get better, that she just needs time, space, understanding. But deep down you know, you're carrying the weight of 2 people while she walks freely. You excuse her distance as trauma, her disrespect as stress, her indifference as personality. But it's none of those things. It's just a lack of interest, masked with occasional breadcrumbs to keep you stuck, and you stay because you're afraid to lose the version of her that barely existed. You fell in love with her potential, not her reality, and now you're living in emotional debt, paying interest on attention, begging for intimacy, starving for validation in a connection that feeds only her. And every time you bring it up, she flips it on you, calls you needy, sensitive, controlling, when all you're asking for is effort, reciprocity, presence. But you don't get it because the moment you start demanding balance, she starts pulling back, and you respond by giving more, doing more, proving yourself even harder, hoping that if you just become the perfect man, she'll finally give you what you need. But it never comes, because she never had it for you, and the more you give, the less she feels she has to, and you become resentful, burnt out, confused, thinking love means losing yourself. That commitment means endurance, but real love doesn't feel like effort. It feels like peace, and when you have to constantly fight to matter, you're not loved, you're used, and she'll keep using you as long as you don't draw the line, as long as you're willing to shrink to stay. She'll keep taking, and you'll keep fading, until one day she finds someone new, and you're left broken, empty, wondering why being good wasn't enough. But the truth is, being good to the wrong person never saves anything. It just delays your healing. And if you had walked away the first time she made you feel like an option, you wouldn't be here now, trapped in a cycle of silence, confusion, and desperation. You need to understand that your silence is your consent, your tolerance is permission, and your fear of walking away is the chain that keeps you enslaved to someone who benefits from your pain. You think walking away means giving up, but staying is the real surrender, because every time you stay after being disrespected, you train yourself to believe that you deserve less, and the longer you stay, the harder it is to leave, not because of love, but because of habit. You're not addicted to her. You're addicted to the hope that one day she'll treat you the way you treat her. But that day won't come because she doesn't have to change. She already gets everything without effort, and that's your doing. And the solution isn't more patience, more compassion, more late-night talks about how you feel. It's silence, distance, clarity. It's leaving without speeches, without warnings, just walking away because your peace has become more important than your need for her presence. And yes, it'll hurt. Yes, it'll feel like you're giving up on something beautiful. But pain isn't always a sign to stay. It's often a signal to leave. And once you leave, really leave, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you'll start to see the truth. You'll start to remember who you were before you started begging, before you started compromising your standards just to feel wanted. You'll start to feel your power return, and she will feel it too. And maybe she'll reach out, maybe she'll come back, but by then it won't matter, because you'll have learned the most important lesson of your life, that you don't chase what disrespects you, that you don't stay where love is one-sided, that your value isn't proven through endurance, it's proven through standards. And the man who walks away from what drains him is the man who finally steps into the life that was waiting for him beyond her. Most men will waste years begging for attention, shrinking themselves for approval, and breaking in silence, because no one ever handed them the truth. Society profits off your weakness. It doesn't want you grounded, focused, untouchable. That's why the Stoic relationship blueprint isn't just a book, it's your weapon. A vault of timeless Stoic principles to reclaim your power, rebuild your peace, and never chase again. And now it's available in audiobook, so you can rewire your mindset while walking, lifting, moving, living. You'll never unsee what you'll learn inside. The link's in the description. Comment, "I choose peace," if you're ready. Like this video, subscribe, and help another man escape years of regret before it's too late.